Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode, again, another interesting episode about interviews. I've got an interview with more of my friends that from the past, and we would talk about older times, different things about anime, and of course, some of the history that has passed along the way. All right. Before I begin, I'd like to remind people to go down below and click like and click subscribe. Even if you want to leave a comment below about this particular video and some opinions that you have, by all means, that does help the algorithm for YouTube. If you're interested in supporting me financially, I have the links for the super thanks as well as the PayPal and Patreon links below, where you can subscribe and get the special content that I cannot post here on YouTube. Again, there's a list with the link below of all the various different episodes I have for the History of Fan Anime, as well as the extra episodes that are available to the subscribers. And then it covers a lot of the content that, again, just YouTube just won't allow me to talk about. So, all the extra content is there, all right? So, in today's episode, we're going to have an interview with my friend Troy. Now, Troy, lives, quite a ways out from Vancouver, still within what they call the Greater Vancouver Regional District. But it's a fair ways away, a good 45 minutes to an hour out of town by car. We get together once in a while and basically go over different things. In today's interview, we can go talk more about that. Okay, so without further delay, let's begin. To me, nothing really modern really sticks out.
Like, I mean, there's this high school of the ninja or whatever the heck it is. Hero High School or whatever. I'm not trying to offend people, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to go there. But these newer animes, and I get they're popular and everybody, Hero High or whatever it is. Great. But I really like storyline. Like LNR back in the days.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spy thrillers. Sailor Moon's a great one. DBZ's a great one. Something, even the Ghibli stuff. I mean, you go through some of that older Ghibli stuff, and the most recent, that Where's Marnie? Like, the writing, the anime, the animation, the coloring, and the voice acting is amazing.
Yeah, the production quality on those things are extremely high, and because and that's the thing that I always view importance to character development and pacing of the stories that it goes through. And I think this, I get it because of the way that things are drawn, more formulae.
Yeah.
They want to try not to be too experimental. Stick with a formula that works.
Yeah, because Fooly Cooly, whatever the heck that was, FLC.
Yeah, FLCL.
That was beyond. Oh my goodness, kids, don't.
FLCL.
If you're gonna go into FLLC, you're gonna get a trip.
That one was. That was that may be mentioned of this in several episodes, but a lot of the modern animes lacking a lot of the things that we used to have in the past, and part of it is because of the financial backing and the committees that has to go through to approve and decide and add their creative control, shall we say. Where in the past the director used to be always be able to have full control over how the project goes. Again, it all has to do with money, right? Because everyone's really concerned about am I getting my money's worth? Are we going to be able to return our production costs and things like that? So that's when you come up with some radically different idea, something that's not part of the mold, the shall we say the cookie cutter sort of genre that's known and proven to be working. They kind of go, well, we're not sure if we want to be on board with this. Past history shows that this may not be a good seller, and whatnot. And even when they release short releases of episodes, they're always constantly looking at it and saying, well, hey, how are the ratings? How are the sales? How are the numbers? Because you may have a really great idea, But the problem is that, if it fails within the first 2, 3, 4 episodes, you're just gonna get canceled. They're just gonna pull the funding, and they're gonna pull all the stuff on the project, and then that's it. Who cares if you've just only begun developing the characters, or just begun setting all the pieces of the plot in place, but then hey, everyone's confused, everyone doesn't know where the story's going, not enough action, whatever the excuse is. You're just getting cut. And so in the previous times when we've had production qualities for large shows, like Gundam, for example, they knew they had 13 episodes that they can do and lay out their episodes. They had 26 or 48 episodes or whatever to do what they needed to do. So they had pacing. They knew that they could allocate this episode for certain characters, this plot. Certain things like episode 12 and 13 were already set for climax and summary episodes and that kind of stuff. So and because you had that, the story flowed very well. You knew as a director that you had the ability to throw in plot twists and things that extend the plot and things like that in there. Whereas in modern day, no, you've got to capture the audience. You've got to make sure that they stay engaged and basically keep you hanging and keep on going, and you can't sort of draw things out in the same way that you used to do before. And that's sort of what suffers in the modern anime.
I think a lot of people are just, I don't know, maybe just because of the mass volume of it, or maybe it's just the quality of the writing. It's just people are just shutting off their mind, just take it or leave it. Okay, well, I'm done.
We talk about critical thinking, and we're losing critical thinking, but we're also losing creative thinking.
Yes, I agree.
We went through the Renaissance, using the Turtles, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael were actually painters and sculptors back in the Renaissance. My question is, to the next generation, who are going to be the next Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, and any other famous painters or sculptors or creative people out there? And yes, AI is going to give us that opportunity as well. Like anime's always told us how man and machine sometimes merge. Mm-hmm. Where do we find that balance? Where do we still keep our human spirit, our human emotion, connection on various levels?
Troy makes the point that, with all this anime that comes out and just how formula and just how, in the mold everything is, how do we get our next person that comes out? Is it going to be like more stuff from Miyazaki or Tomo, or maybe Watanabe or Isayama? Are they all going to are they what we envision to be the next artists of this particular caliber? Is this examples of what our generation are going to create? Or is someone else gonna rise up and come up with something and produce a new string of that? We don't know, but that's for hopefully the industry will evolve and come up with new people, that rather than just people who are just hey, this is the popular thing, so we'll just come up with another variation of an old idea and just regurgitate it back out, or let's just reboot something because we know it already sells. So we're not being creative just because the money's there and we're just going for the cash grab. Are we actually producing something new, refreshing, innovative, that kind of stuff? And that's I think that's sort of getting lost in the commercial shuffle, I think.
AI is going to give us that opportunity as well. Like anime's always told us how man and machine sometimes merge. Mm-hmm. Where do we find that balance? Where do we still keep our human spirit, our human emotion, connection on various levels?
Well, and you're right, that's creativity and innovation. That's something that the AI can't do. It can repeat stuff. It can take a vast amount of data, collaborative data, and create something from that. But if you have some other story or whatever or other idea, AI ain't gonna come up with.
No.
And likewise, that's what a lot of people are like, tell me, oh yeah, I don't know why you keep doing like podcasts or videos and that kind of stuff. You're just gonna get replaced with AI. Well, yeah. The only problem is AI can't come up with the story.
Yeah.
They can't come up with the history.
Exactly.
And
it cannot come up with the human emotion, the human feelings, and again, as I say, how you, the individual, connect.
So Troy makes a mention that AI is our new thing that basically is interfering with creativity and whatnot, and true AI has its place in the in the anime industry or in the creative industry in general. But the problem with that is that AI, what it will is really good at doing is taking a whole body of information and whatnot, especially about animes and types of animes, maybe some dialogue and that kind of stuff, and take that all together and put it and compile it and sort it, and then basically it can then generate something, a new story or some conglomerate, some mixture of a story to create something new based on the collection of data that would that comes from this. So, for example, if you comes up with an idea like like for example, let's make a harem anime, the concept of something like Tenchi Muyo comes out, where it's a guy and all these girls are all sort of around him and whatnot, and the conflicts ensues all about them with different characters with different purposes, for the for having Tenchi around. That's that sort of could be let's say a starter, right? And then some more time goes on, and then some guy can come up and go, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we have this guy that lives in this apartment, and all the other girls are in the apartment?" Well, isn't that just exactly like Three's Company, where basically a guy lives in an apartment with two girls, and then he's getting all these other girls, and then all of a sudden there's these strange interactions that start happening, and different stories occur from that. But this is something that would basically happen if you continually use AI to generate new content. It's just basically it's like, hey, didn't this happen before? But you just added some little twist. So in this case, if we continue on with the trope of harem animes, and then you go, okay, hey, when we get this guy and put him in an apartment, well, isn't that just like Love Hina, for example? Or let's say, okay, hey guys, I got a new idea. I want to get this guy, and let's put him in this place, and there's all these girls around him, but let's make all those girls his sisters. Yeah, what a great idea. And then out comes Sister Princess. And so, the same trope sort of happens, and this sort of kind of goes around. And so, are we really getting good content for this? Yeah, probably not. I mean, I think the last couple of modern day things that has happened is let's use the isekai AI generator and just kind of like, well, we know what the trope of an isekai is, so let's just, throw it into the AI bot and let it just generate this random garbage that comes out. And it's just, hey, wait a minute, isn't this exactly the same thing except you just changed this and this or something? And, oh, wait a minute, isn't this the same thing except we just changed the, the time period or, the theme or, and just shuffled a few things around and just made it this, and that's what eventually probably happens. Now, obviously, some other people also commented that, well, why, in the future, why are you doing this, podcast or this, this particular YouTube channel? Because everyone's just going to use AI to generate the content, and that's great and dandy. But the problem is that the AI can only, as I said, amass all the data and all the videos and that kind of stuff that's already been posted, and then basically, based on that content, create something new from that. And while that's all great and dandy, one of the problems is that if historically it never happened, or there is no factual data for that, then how can AI produce something that you would think would be factual based on that? And the answer is you can't, right? You can. That's like trying to tell AI to tell the story of soldiers on, let's say, on D-Day, for example. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of novels, there's lots of movies that have those kind of things, but what can you actually say? And if is any of that factual? Did any of that actually happen, or is it all just based off of things? Or will the AI just kind of say, well, this happened in Private Ryan, and this kind of happened in A Bridge Too Far, and this happened in another, and then they kind of say, well, yeah, so we'll just make another movie or that kind of stuff that just kind of blends certain elements of those and makes it part of the timeline or something. And then is that factual? Is would that be entertaining? Well, who knows, right? There's different reasons why different people get entertained by that particular stuff. So again, I'm hoping to continue to add to the algorithm, as it were, as opposed to having the algorithm generate stuff that may or may not be true, and produce literally false narratives, for example, right? Because anyone doesn't want to go and say that movies like Private Ryan or A Bridge Too Far was actually true. They probably would much rather ask a war veteran what his experience was, and how he felt, and the view from his eyes of what actually factually happened to his account, right? Okay, so I hope you found that really interesting, and I always find it really interesting, to go and talk to some of the old people, because they always bring up stories that I sort of sometimes forget, or I don't quite have the exact wording sometimes, because I don't want to say something in regards to in about someone's story, when they can say it properly themselves, because I might get some details wrong or whatever. So it's always better that you get the information straight from them. As well as it's they always have some different perspective that maybe I just kind of forgot about, because so much time has passed. Sometimes I tend to forget them. So it's always good to to have a good conversation about that. Again, I will be doing more of them, so stay tuned for that. All right. So until next time, I will see you again.